Supplementary. The name of the lesson is The Envious Neighbor. The Envious Neighbor is a Japanese folk tale. It's one of the old Japanese folk tale. Folk tale means the stories which are being said by the old people in the villages. So this Japanese folk tale tells us how two neighbors suddenly change their characters because of the wealth they received. And in this lesson, the main characters are the good old couple, that is the old man and his wife, and the main character of the story is the dog. At the same time, we have a bigger old couple, old man and his wife. So let's move on into the story. In the old days, there lived an honest man with his wife, and they had a pet dog. And the dog was like one of their family members. Since they did not have any child, they treated the dog as their own child. The couple fed the dog with fish and tidbits from the kitchen. So tidbits means the leftovers that are there in the kitchen. After they have the food, whatever were the leftovers that they used to feed the dog. And the dog also loved the couple very much. It was always with them wherever they went. So one day, what happened? The old fox went into the field to do their work. The dog also followed them and went into the fields. So suddenly what happened? The dog stopped in one place and it was sniffing continuously and it started to bark loudly. And it was barking and barking continuously as if telling something to the old couple. So the old couple took the spade and went to the place and they started to dig because they thought like there might be a bone over there, that is why the dog is still barking, and they began digging. So what happens when they started digging? They found the place full of treasure, and the treasure was nothing but full of gold pieces, silver, and all sorts of precious things like precious gems were there, and they were really happy after seeing all that. So the old couple took the treasure, but they did not take the full treasure for themselves. What they did was, so they were so kind-hearted that they also shared a portion of the treasure that they had with the poor people. They gave alms to the poor people. Alms means that giving a good thing or offering something good for the poor people at no cost. So, with the treasure they had, they got some rice fields, corn fields, whatever they needed for their life to be settled. And with the remaining money, they gave alms to the poor, and they also became a wealthy people. Now, they had a very covetous and stingy neighbors, and that is the wicked old couple, old man and his wife. They heard about what happened to this good old couple. They were not able to sustain the greed and selfishness that their neighbor had suddenly become so rich and wealthy, and they were so ambitious to know what happened, how could happen. And when they came to know, it was only because the dog had helped it, and they were very eager in borrowing the dog, and they wanted the same thing to happen to them also. So what they happened is they did was they heard about the treasure and borrowed the dog. And they went and asked the good old man to lend the dog for one day so they could also get some treasure in the field and they could also become a wealthy people. And what they did, once the borrowed the dog, they brought it to their home and they prepared a great feast for the dog. But the dog was hesitating to eat the feast and it was not in a comfortable position and it was not finding itself comfortable over there. So what it could not even eat anything. So since it was hesitating and they did not have any patience for the dog to eat, so they started kicking the dog also and it was receiving all kinds of kicks and beatings from the wicked old man and they dragged the dog, they tied a rope around its neck and they dragged the dog into the field and they were asking it, like pestering it to find any treasure in the field. So the dog was totally in a big trouble now. So they picked the poor dog and they did not eat anything and they tied up the place where the treasure is, the wicked old man immediately started to dig that place. He wasn't very ambitious to know that there must be some treasure over there. So he thought that, and he started to dig that place, but it was all finally disappointment. There was nothing over there. They found the dirt with nasty offal. Offal is like all this old dirt which gives a filthy smell, so foul smell, and they were really disappointed. And they were not only disappointed, they were very furious with anger. So furious at being disappointed, the wicked old couple bet the dog very badly and finally they killed the dog. And to hide the dog, dead dog, what the old man did was they buried it under the root of a pine tree. Now days went by, the good old man was waiting for his dog from the neighbors, but it did not come. So seeing that the days had passed by, he went to his neighbor and asked, where was the dog? So the wicked old couple said, your dog did not give us any or show us any treasure in the garden, so we have killed it and it is being buried in the pine tree without any soft heart. They said it very cruelly. So the old man felt very badly and immediately ran to the place where the dog was buried. And he cried over there very badly, and as a remembrance of his dead dog, he set a tray of food that the dog liked, and he adorned the grave, that place, with beautiful flowers, and he burnt incense and he worshipped that place for his dead dog. And that same night, when he came back to his home, thinking about his dog, he was very much worried and he slept in remembrance of his dead dog. And that on that night, in his dream, the dead dog appeared in his dream and it told him, don't worry that I am lost, so I'll be surely helping you. You go and see the pine tree, cut the tree, and make a mortar out of it. Mortar is a grinding instrument that we use in our homes and kitchens for grinding small things. So you can make a mortar out of it, and when you make it, when you grind the rice in it, you will get precious. So immediately the next day, the man woke up and he asked his neighbor to cut the tree, to give him permission to cut the tree. As he was given permission, he cut the tree and he made a mortar. And when he made a mortar and started using it, all the rice turned into precious treasures. The wicked old couple were seeing all this that was happening to the good old couple, that is their neighbors, and they could not again sustain that their neighbors were getting more wealthy again. And they again went to the old man and borrowed the mortar and they brought it to their home. And when they started to ground their rice, they found only dirt and filth again coming out. So they again borrowed the mortar and they think they were, whatever they did, it came into a negative way. So they were really more angry with that again, and in that anger, they burned the mortar and they completely burned it over there. So now again, the good old man did not know anything about this, and in that same night, the dog again appears in his dream. Now the dog tells him like that the mortar has been burned and there are only ashes left back. But he tells also that now go and collect all the ashes and sprinkle it on the withered trees. Withered trees is the trees which are dried out and there is no more any blossoming in it. You want give any of the flowers or fruits. So it advises the good old man to collect all the ashes and to sprinkle on the withered trees. And once you sprinkle the ashes, a magic will happen. The magic is that it will immediately blossom and flowers and fruits will start blossoming it. So he thought like how could this happen? This is something against the nature. But he believed the dog's words and when he woke up the next day, he went and asked the neighbors to at least let him take the ashes, collect all the ashes. So the neighbors just ignored it and they said, okay, go to collect all the ashes. So he went and collected all the ashes and he brought it to his house and he wanted to check whether that was true or what. And he did it, and to his surprise, he checked it. It was one of the withered trees in his garden. And when he just sprinkled on it, everything started to blossom. So he believed what the dog said in his dream. And he took a pouch, a basket also, and he put all the ashes in it. And he went out into the town to do some kind of business with it. Maybe I will pause. Now the old man had collected all the ashes in a basket and he went about into the country, saying that he had all the powers of bringing life to any withered trees. Now, when he was just traveling on the road, the certain prince of a palace, he heard about what this man was saying and he suddenly sent his servants to call for that man. And when the good old man came into the palace, he said to the prince, like I have the flowers. So the prince was not believing him at first and he told him to first sprinkle out some or do something for his garden because most of the trees were withered. So now the good old man sprinkled the ashes on the trees and to everyone's surprise, all the withered trees started to flower up. The prince was very much happy now, and in his happiness, he gave good rewards for the good old man. And he rewarded him with pieces of silk cloth and other presents and sent him home happily. So the good old man received all good rewards and he was coming home happily. Now, do you think that the wicked old couple would have not seen all this? They were all watching this carefully because they were always watching what the neighbors were doing. And they could not sustain, like the neighbors were getting more wealthier and they were happily settled in their life. So as soon as the wicked old couple heard all this, the wicked man, he also went and collected the leftover ashes that were there and he took in his basket and he also went in the same way as the good old man went into the country saying that he also had the powers of reviving any withered trees. And again when the prince heard about it, he also sent forth the same man thinking that it was the same man and he called him in inside the palace. And when he came inside the palace, the prince asked the wicked man to revive his withered trees. Now, everything happened on the contrary. That is, when he sprinkled the ashes on the withered trees, it fell into the eyes of the prince and it also went into the mouth of the prince and it was choking him up and he was gasping for breath. Now his eyes, the ashes that went into the eyes made his eyes irritate and he was totally out of sense. So seeing something has happened to the prince, the soldiers were really shocked and they were angry. Now in that anger, they did not leave the wicked old man. They beat him very badly. And in that condition, he had to crawl and go to his home back. Now, nothing happened, but his situation became very worse. So the wicked old man received beatings that were badly to death. He received beatings. He crawled off home in a very sorry plight. Now the situation was very pity also. And he and his wife, after coming home, they scolded themselves for how greedy they were and for the way they behaved and then finally into what trap they had fallen because of their greediness. So seeing this situation and seeing what happened to this neighbors, the good old couple, they came and visited them and they shared also a part of their own riches. So they said like, if at all you wanted some of the wealth, so we are there for you to help. So they shared some of their wealth with their neighbors. This made them realize their greed. So now they realize a mistake. The wicked old couple then they realize their mistake, and they also realize how greedy they were seeing their good old couple. Now they mended their ways. Now they changed their ways into a good path, and they led a good and virtuous life ever after. So this is what we should also learn. If we have a good friend, we should not be always greedy with them, like how good they are, how well they are studying. It is not like we should be happy that a friend is studying very good and they are also in a good position. So we should not be always having a negative thought in ourselves. There's a wonderful saying in Chinese: if you do good, you will reap good. If you do evil, you will